We'll also be using Bessie's Ride Vehicle Editor plugin for this one, so make sure you have that downloaded if you don't already. There will be a link to that in the description below. I'm going to start by building a twister coaster, because that's just the easiest thing for me to use. And I'm going to start with one station piece. And we're going to use a large slope up to a vertical and then into a quarter loop for 1/2 of our arc up, and then we'll do the same on the other side for our other half. I'll add an entrance and exit. I'll put them on the same tile just to save some space. Now for the vehicle, we're going to go with the floorless twister trains. And I'm going to just use one train, one car per train. For right now, and I'll show you why in just a moment. And then for our operating mode, we're going to use powered launch passing station. This is the same mode that the inverted impulse coaster uses. And you can put as many circuits as you want on this, probably something like 5, 6, 7, whatever you like. As far as launch speed goes, this is also one thing you'll have to play around with on your own, but probably something in the 40 to 60 miles. Per hour range is probably going to be pretty good. And you can see our lonely little car here going back and forth on an arc. Of course, this is only half of the solution. We want to get 2 arms swinging in synchronization here. So we're going to do a little bit of track merging and hacking to get that to happen. So what I'm going to start with is deleting this slope up here. And then we're going to turn our ride into a steel wild mouse. Now you'll see the track disappear. Happen. So what I'm going to start with is deleting this slope up here. And then we're going to turn our ride into a steel wild mouse. Now you'll see the track disappears because the steel wild mouse doesn't have the large slopes that the Twister does, and that's fine, they'll come back. And from our entrance, we're going to do 2 tiny turns and then 1 straight piece, and then we will switch back to Twister roller coaster. And from here, we'll do our large curves up again in our quarter loop. And switching back to steel wild mouse, we'll need to delete this tiny corner. Switch back to Twister. So we can build the other bit. To the loop here. And we can also rebuild it on the original as well. Now we'll need to switch back to steel wild mouse so we can rebuild the tiny curve. And now this would be all of our track pieces in place. And let's switch to 2 cars now. And we will go ahead and test and then immediately close the ride so that the vehicles will spawn, but they won't go anywhere. Now let's open up our ride vehicle editor. Plugin, and we're going to move the back car along the steel wild mouse track that is currently invisible so that it is on the other side of the Twister track facing the other direction. Now to make sure this happens properly, we need to use the tile inspector to put the steel wild mouse track below the Twister track.